The story revolves around the awakening journey of an unlucky boy named Taehyun. From being considered a societal outcast, he accidentally becomes the chosen one to awaken and possesses enough strength and confidence to excel as a skilled awakening practitioner. During this period when a strange light envelops the world, monstrous creatures emerge, attacking humans with ferocity, ready to kill whatever they deem prey. In the face of this threat, humanity must stand up and resist. Although the outcome is uncertain, it is better than passively waiting for someone else to save them, or worse, being left with no saviors, forcing them to confront the monsters on their own. And Taehyun is no exception. Despite knowing that this battle is unfair, he tries his best with the weapon in his hand. Looking at his appearance, he seems like an ordinary person. Unlike professional awakeners who can easily defeat the monsters. However, somehow, Taehyun manages to approach the enemy and can stab a knife into the mouth of the giant creature, just as it opens wide, seemingly ready to swallow him whole. Its sharp teeth and disgusting saliva are terrifying enough to instill extreme fear in any human. He takes a bold risk. If it doesn't die, he will, but at least he wants to try it once. And after that daring attack, the monstrous creature collapsed, its massive body so heavy that everything around seemed to tremble and threatened to crumble, with dust swirling in the air. Fortunately, the deadly blow had taken it down. At this point, Taehyun was also exhausted, sitting beside the lifeless body and breathing heavily. Finally, he had managed to personally kill one of the monsters, however. Just then, someone called out to him with a highly unpleasant tone, "Hey, you foolish ordinary human, why are you still sitting there?" It turns out they were Taehyun's comrades, skilled warriors who had defeated many monsters and were now standing atop the corpses, taunting. Society was like that. Talented individuals often asserted their superiority over others. "What are you doing, huh? If you're the pack mule, then get to work and collect the loot quickly. Don't you see monster corpses everywhere? Or do you want us to handle it ourselves? Do you think we hired you just to sit around and play?" One of them sneered. Upon hearing this, Taehyun quickly apologized to them, realizing he had just done something that a mere pack mule shouldn't have. They continued to hurl insults, asserting that a useless pack mule like Taehyun was only fit for menial tasks and had no worth beyond that. To them, he was nothing more than a burden responsible for cleaning up the battlefield. Frustrated, Taehyun could only vent his anger with those two words, wretched, realizing that in this changed world, with the emergence of the abyss, the definitions of talent and worth had shifted significantly from what they used to be. Damn it, Taehyun could only repeat these two words, expressing his frustration, unable to do much more. Because the world had changed since the abyss appeared, the definitions of talent and uselessness had also become different from the past. It all began when the abyss emerged. The abyss was a place where hordes of monsters would spill forth, seemingly something only found in novels or fantasy stories, but now they had arrived and changed the world. After the discovery of the abyss as a natural law, humans began adapting by awakening extraordinary powers. With these newfound abilities, they started to eliminate monsters and unlock the potential within the abyss. Those individuals were called by various names such as awakeners, hunters, or warriors. As a result, evaluating a person was no longer based on personality or effort, but on rankings and awakened strength. The higher the awakening rank, the better the person's life would be, with more respect and admiration. Conversely, those with lower rankings would live a marginalized and scorned life. The pack mule guy, while gathering the spoils of battle, pondered over this. Many people had successfully awakened. They were talented and considered heroes, standing at the pinnacle of glory. They were sought after and admired, but not him. He was just a baggage carrier for the awakened ones and an ordinary person. He couldn't even unlock the character status window, even at the age of 35. Meanwhile, others had awakened early, some becoming experts by their late teens or 20s. As long as one remains unawakened, escaping from this kind of life is impossible. Regardless, for now, I must quickly clean up this place. After saying that, he turned to inform everyone that he had finished collecting the spoils of battle. However, there was no reaction from anyone. Upon closer inspection, the young man was shocked to see the scene before him. They had all been killed. Everywhere was blood and corpses. Who could have done this in the blink of an eye? Without a sound, someone had managed to sweep through this place, turning it into a ghostly field of death. What happened here? They're dead. Before he could gather his thoughts, a chilling voice echoed, saying, "You will be the last." It was the voice of the horrifying entity, a female demon with a serpent's head, radiating a powerful aura of dark energy. Her towering figure and multiple arms extended as if to seize her prey immediately. Its name is Asmodeus, rank SSS. Those hunters were not even its match, and Taehyun himself was no different from a mosquito in comparison. However, if he were to run away now, there was no guarantee of escape. Better to die once with glory. After all, he had nothing left to lose, so he drew his sword and charged at the monstrous creature. Against such a weak opponent, the creature didn't need to exert much effort. A mere swipe of its hand would be enough to tear through the prey's flesh. As predicted, before Taehyun could do anything, the creature's magic sent his weapon flying. He was injured and fell right under its feet. What is this creature? It's too formidable. I have to find a way out. I can't just lie here waiting to die. However, with its cruelty, it ensured that the prey had no chance of escape. It used a sinister lightning bolt to kill Taehyun and transformed him into a serpent-headed creature. Like the jewelry on its body, it would be a painful and horrifying death. Struck by the magical lightning in the middle of his forehead, blood began to gush out. His body became unresponsive, and the final thoughts flashed briefly in his mind. Tears started to flow, blood continued to pour from his face, streaming down his entire body. What is this? How can I die like this? His life had never been tragic enough. It seemed all of his family members had been lost in a traffic accident. He endured bullying during school, and as he grew older, he had to live the life of an ordinary person, constantly being trampled upon by others. And now he was killed by this monstrous creature while just being a baggage carrier. Why did fate treat him like this? In this very moment, what hurt Taehyun the most was the recollection of his miserable life. He couldn't remember when he had become so accustomed to being called a second-class citizen, a dead dog, or a useless ordinary person. The mocking laughter and detestable sounds were like salt rubbed into the wounds of his soul. As death seemed imminent, he clenched his teeth, suppressing the pain in both body and spirit. If he were to die in this state, his expression alone would reveal the extent of his suffering. Just as darkness closed in on the young man's eyes, his final drop of blood fell, touched the ground, and unexpectedly illuminated. Wait, what is that light? Could it be a miracle? Could it be that all the conditions for awakening have been met? From within that magical miracle, a staircase illuminated with brilliant light appeared, leading to where a deity resided. The young man opened his eyes wide, looking around in confusion. What is this? Could it be that I've ascended to heaven? This scene is so strange, unlike anything I've ever seen before. However, it seemed not. I haven't died yet. I'm sure I was on the brink of death under the attack of that monster just now. Just a little more, and I would have lost consciousness entirely. But why did it suddenly freeze like that? Why did it spare me? Taehyun turned his head to look at the monstrous creature. Frozen as if time had come to a standstill, he could still see the image of himself collapse, covered in blood. In his mind, all he could wonder was why Asmodeus had stopped, forgetting about everything else. Dumbfounded to the point where even the deity had to exclaim, "Haha, aren't you curious about who I am, where I come from, why I'm here, and yet you focus on why Asmodeus stopped?" Only then did the young man snap out of his daze, turning to look at the deity and hesitantly asking who he was. However, the deity seemed unwilling to disclose much. In a casual manner, the deity responded, "Who knows who I am? Some call me a king, but you don't need to worry about that. It's not important. Importantly, from now on, I will bestow upon you power." The young man was once again stunned, thinking to himself, he's a king, right? What kind of power is he talking about? What did he mean? Is it real? He's the one who stopped Asmodeus, isn't he? However, nothing could escape the eyes of a deity. Everything that Taehyun thought in his head was read by the deity. "Hey, doubting like that is not good. You know, I know everything," the deity warned. "I commend your determination and resilience, so I have come here to choose you. However, you better not think that such a miracle will happen again. This is your only chance to remake yourself." Hearing this, the young man was shocked. "Wait, he chose me. What's going on? What do I have for him to choose?" The king just laughed and said, "Be patient. There will come a day when you understand everything I say. Let's meet again later. Wish you good luck." With might he, after saying that, the king and the radiance gradually disappeared in the astonishment of the young man. He still hadn't grasped what had happened to him. Perhaps this was just a dream, or worse, it could be the dying dream of the unfortunate lad. At that moment, another voice was heard in his ear. "Hey, this guy is still asleep. Why let him sleep here? This crazy dog, it still dares to ignore us. Big brother. Should we wake him up?" Taehyun slowly opened his eyes to see several guys standing in front of him. Before he could clearly see who they were and understand what on earth was happening, the guys approached, greeting the morning with a slap that served as a rude awakening. "Asleep, huh? Have you woken up, you miserable guy?" The guy grabbed his collar and continued with a triumphant tone. "Oh my, you enjoy getting hit before you listen, huh? Because someone like you usually needs a good lesson to behave." At this point, Taehyun recognized his face. This was Huku, the jerk who bullied him back in high school. Taehyun thought he was dreaming again. The other guys stood around, laughing and jeering along with him. Huku kept slapping Taehyun repeatedly, asking why he wasn't answering, teasing if he'd become mute. "Why am I here? Why is he here too? Wasn't I in a place with monsters and some king? Am I dreaming? But getting slapped hurts like this, so it can't be a dream. Did some kind of magic happen to me? Hold on, did he grant me real power?" At this very moment, the young man widened his eyes even more in surprise as he saw something in front of him. Information related to Taehyun started appearing: his name, age, ranking, skills. This is the status window. Why am I seeing this? But why is my age 19, not 35? Isn't that something from 16 years ago? If my thoughts are correct, it means I've awakened. Surely that's it. Taehyun burst into laughter. A joyous laughter, as if he had never laughed before, as if he had just found a treasure. The other guys were puzzled, not understanding what was happening. Who laughs like that after getting beaten? Poor guy, something must have happened to him. Maybe he's gone crazy, or he wants to provoke the big brother. While the whole gang was dumbfounded, Taehyun continued to laugh, making Huku furious, because he thought Taehyun was mocking him. "You bastard, do you want to get punched?" After saying that, he rushed forward, intending to land a few more punches on the unfortunate guy's face. However, Taehyun was no longer the same as before. He wasn't the weakling who endured bullying for 19 years. Now let's see this. Taehyun unleashed his move first, landing a punch on that jerk's face, sending him flying several feet away. The two accompanying guys were shocked and stunned. How dare he fight back against the big brother? He must be insane. From the very beginning, when he saw the status window, Taehyun realized something interesting. The fact that he could see the status window meant he had also awakened. Never had he felt so confident and exhilarated. As if reborn, more accurately, he had the chance to go back in time to redo his life. However, the power and skills he possessed were far superior to his former self. For 19 years, these three guys have been bullying me non-stop. Now it's time for them to learn their lesson, to settle old scores. Even though my face still hurts from the punches earlier, they dared to slap me a few times. "You've been bullying me for too long." Taehyun stood up, ready for a showdown. Seeing Huku knocked down, the other two rushed forward. They seemed to have some courage, perhaps having awakened earlier. "Kim Taehyun, you idiot. Have you lost your mind? You, this insignificant loser, dare to mess with us? Do you even know who we are?" But it's not that easy to intimidate me anymore. Taehyun skillfully dodged to the side, making the guy with black hair stumble. Then with a swift and beautiful move, he countered, defeating his opponent before the guy could unleash any fiery attacks. The green-haired guy followed suit, launching sharp ice shards at Taehyun. However, he wasn't going to be outdone. Because I've lived for 35 years as a person who couldn't wake up enduring scorn and being looked down upon despite being an ordinary person, I did everything I could. From daily physical training to exploring all available information about dungeons and monsters, gathering knowledge about various skills, even practical combat martial arts. So there's no way I'm losing to a bunch of clueless thugs like you. You guys don't even know the basics. You're only good at bullying the weak in numbers. I'll punch each of you a few times so you can see that I'm not the same person I used to be. That's right, the outcome is well-deserved. Being able to fight back against these guys for the first time feels great. It's true that I've got some skills, but I still need to train and get back in shape. Just woke up and already dealing with this nonsense. Taehyun was about to leave when he saw Huku getting up, mocking him. "Haha, look who's there. Did I see it wrong? Or have you really awakened, son of bitch? Dare to lay a hand on my grandpa? You're dead, your mother's child." He then activated his level C stone skin skill, reinforcing his body with layers of rock-like skin, covering him like a sturdy armor. With armor like that, it could withstand physical blows from enemies, and those powerful stone-enhanced attacks would be a dangerous weapon. Fists made of stone continuously targeted Taehyun. For a normal person, just one hit from him would be enough to crack a skull or shatter a face. Taehyun swiftly dodged the strikes, moving left then right, up and down. The opponent was formidable, attacking quickly and relentlessly. It's quite troublesome. I can't keep dodging like this forever. I need to find an opening to attack. As Taehyun was contemplating how to do that, the stone-skinned guy jumped high, preparing to unleash a devastating strike. His impact with the ground was so powerful that everything shattered, as if a meteor had just crashed and wreaked havoc in the area. Amidst the thick dust and debris, he thought he might have crushed Taehyun. But no, Taehyun managed to escape his sight and was preparing to counterattack from behind. "Huku, you despicable jerk. You want to kill me, huh?" Taehyun flew in, throwing punches at the villain. But wait, something's not right. Why am I in so much pain? Am I bleeding? "Haha, you fool, what are you trying to do? Want to pick a fight?" Now Taehyun realized he had been too careless. He forgot that the guy was covered in stone. Who in their right mind punches someone covered in stone with their bare hands? Hitting him made Taehyun injure himself. Following that, the stone-skinned guy used his powerful arm to punch Taehyun in the stomach, sending him flying. The attack was so forceful that it shattered all the bricks around the area where Taehyun fell. Being hit like that, it's not surprising if he coughed up blood. It truly embodied the literal meaning of picking a fight with someone covered in stone. Taehyun was in agony, continuously spitting out blood. Given Huku's internal strength, there's a high chance Taehyun sustained severe injuries. If you're going to play games, know your limits, little kid. Are you awake now? Hurry up and sit up. Let's continue playing. You want to resist, right? Hey, that guy who hasn't awakened at the bottom of society. What are you planning to do now? Are you going to run away again like you just did? Huh. Or are you planning to show off your awakening skills, which are probably weak? You're not skilled enough to fight me. Taehyun understood his defeat this time because the difference in class couldn't be ignored in a battle. All awakened individuals possessed a skill and a certain rank. The lowest was rank F, similar to a regular person, and the highest was rank S, including those who fought in the territories of entities known as monsters. At that point, the abilities and physical skills of the awakened person increased exponentially compared to an ordinary person. Everyone has their own unique skill, also known as a special move, but my skill is prey hunting, which is a skill that no one knows about or has heard of until now. Moreover, it even has the lowest rank. I don't know how to use it or what its effects are. Theoretically, I don't stand a chance against Huku, who is at rank C. However, for some reason, I am filled with confidence in myself at this moment. I don't feel like I'm going to lose to you, Huku. At this moment, a vivid red aura emanated from Taehyun, urging him to stand up and resist. Huku squinted his eyes. What kind of monstrous thing is this? What are you trying to do? It's impossible. Have you truly awakened? But you're just a guy named Taehyun at the bottom of society. Taehyun felt his hand brimming with power. Is this the prey hunting skill? He could sense magic entering his willpower. From now on, no one has the right to speak to me like that. You said I'm at the bottom of society, even though I don't know what's happening right now. But I think it's time to end this battle with you. I just need to kill the stone-faced guy like you, and everything will be fine. When facing someone who has just awakened and is provoking, there's no reason for a rank C awakened like Huku to stand still and wait for the other to attack first. He lunged forward, intending to punish Taehyun, but he extended his magical hand to resist. They clashed, each using their internal strength. Taehyun possessed not only physical strength, but also prey hunting and a determined spirit to win. If he didn't win this time, he would lose not only his dignity, but also the chance to stand up again. His strength burned through Huku's stone arm. What? How can he withstand my move? How can this ground-level guy manage that? Even Taehyun himself didn't know why his strength had increased so much. Several minutes had passed, and the two sides still hadn't determined the outcome. It's time to end this. I have to finish him, end the life of being looked down upon by others from this moment on. Taehyun clenched his fist, channeling all the magical power in his body into his hand. The power was so terrifying that it peeled off the thick stone-like pieces all over Huku's body. His body felt the pain as if someone was tearing off his skin, beating him with scales. At this moment, the students in the school were still busy with their own affairs, not paying attention to what was happening on the rooftop. Taehyun's initial red aura was as small as blood vessels, but when he reached the pinnacle of anger, it became so terrifying, enveloping a corner of the sky in red. The stone-like pieces of skin had shattered into thousands of fragments, all strangely being drawn into Taehyun's body. At that moment, the prey hunting magic began to cool down and gradually disappeared. Taehyun had used his awakening to fight and defeat his first enemy. As for the defeated one, he lay flattened under Taehyun's feet. This time, the vile guy couldn't get up anymore. He had truly lost, unexpectedly. Taehyun's mysterious comeback had changed everything, at least in terms of defeating Huku. At this moment, the prey hunting skill had been perfected. By capturing prey, his rank had changed from F to E, and he also learned a new skill, which was stone skin. Taehyun's skill not only allowed him to defeat opponents without using weapons, but also absorb their skills. This means that if he hunts different prey, Taehyun will acquire all their skills, a rather formidable way of stealing techniques. However, no matter what, this place was still a school, so he couldn't just leave after the fight. After the brawl, Taehyun went to the school's infirmary. The nurse on duty was surprised to see someone approaching. She looked out the door and was astonished to see 4 injured individuals struggling in. A weak student carrying 2 others on his shoulders, one with a black head and one with a red head, and another with a green head who had fallen right at the entrance door. Taehyun looked up and greeted the teacher. His appearance couldn't be more miserable. His hair was messy, and his body was covered in blood. A poor guy seemed on the verge of collapsing. The teacher, shocked, stood there gaping, beads of sweat forming on her forehead. She probably had never seen students in such a battered condition at school. She nervously picked up her phone to call the school's health supervisor. What happened? And why do all of you look like this? Did you get into a fight? So the teacher guessed correctly, but none of them dared to admit. After the fight, Taehyun brought the group of kids, including Huku, to the school infirmary. The school nurse at the infirmary was also an awakened individual with her own healing abilities. She treated the wounds of Taehyun and the other 3. Even though Taehyun felt a bit awkward, he went along with the excuse they made up for the teacher. When she asked how they all got injured, he just said they fell down the stairs. It was a silly and absurd explanation. But for some reason, the teacher didn't inquire further. After resting the entire afternoon, I feel better now. The sky is getting dark, and it's time to leave school. Taehyun steps out of the gate, still reminiscing about the events of this morning. Looking back, it feels amazing. I have awakened and even managed to get revenge on that guy, Huku. However, the issue that puzzles me is here. The hunting skill and its power are truly mysterious. It is unlike any other skills I have researched. Normally, rankings are something that takes a lifetime of training to change, but my skill ranking increased after just one battle. Moreover, it's only at rank F, yet it has power surpassing even rank C. I can also steal the skills of those I defeat. It's like a ranking error, but that's unlikely. Perhaps the hunting skill is a rare skill, so it doesn't resemble the majority of other skills. Furthermore, why did that person, the one who claims to be the king, grant me such power? Why did he choose me, someone less talented than him? Could it be that I am too pitiful? Or is there something lacking in those more skilled than me? It's crazy. There are countless questions, and I really want to know the answers. However, instead of just pondering over these questions, there's something more important to do right now. Rather than constantly questioning myself, I need to understand the concept of hunting thoroughly. I must truly comprehend my skill before applying it effectively. Taehyun steps towards a house, staring at it for a while. It turns out to be a house he lived in 16 years ago. A familiar feeling rushes back. It's been a long time since I came back home. I wonder how everyone is doing now. I see your family's home after my parents passed away. I lived with my uncle when I was still in school. Uncle and aunt are quite old now, and they only have one son. They're probably still at work at this time. Usually, they come back late. While alone at home, maybe I should search for information on similar skills. Taehyun pushed the door open and was surprised to find some unfamiliar faces inside. Why are they here? Could they be thieves? In front of him stood a guy who looked like a gang leader with two followers covering their faces. One was tall and muscular, wearing ragged pants and seemingly forgetting to tie his belt. The other was short, skinny, and frail. It seemed like they were intimidating Taehyun's younger cousin. "Oh, Jae-young, why aren't you at school? Who are these people, and what are you doing here?" Taehyun noticed a box of loose change on the floor near Jae-young. What's going on? This troublemaker used to hang out with bullies, stealing money from the house and causing big problems before he turned over a new leaf. At this moment, the gang leader stood up, looked at Taehyun, and asked, "Who's this guy?" Jae-young hesitated for a moment and then said something to him. It turns out that the day Jae-young stole the money is today. If Taehyun hadn't come back to witness it firsthand, how could he have known? It seems like Jae-young made a foolish move, conspiring with these bad guys to steal money from his own parents. The gang leader acted surprised in a feigned manner. "Oh wow, I was wondering who that was. You asked so many questions. I thought you were a cop or something. Turns out you're Jae-young's cousin. It's easier when dealing with someone you know." "Hello, young man, if you don't want to catch a beating, it's best to stay out of this and pretend you don't know. We'll take the money and leave right away. I'll spare you. Don't be foolish enough to get involved in our business." He approached, patting Taehyun's head like a mischievous kid. Probably he saw Taehyun as an innocent student, so he asked, "Hey, haven't you woken up yet? You seem so weak." Taehyun stood still for 2 seconds, looking at him. However, the demeanor of this guy was no longer as benign as before. Taehyun smirked. "Well, you arrived at the perfect time. I'm curious to test what it is," Taehyun said. Hearing this, the gang leader still didn't understand what was going on. He thought Taehyun was probably speaking incoherently out of fear. In a split second, the young guy landed a punch straight to his face, causing him to roll on the floor. Clearly, he didn't expect Taehyun to be so assertive. A high school senior daring to take on a gang leader like him. Where are the other two? Let's teach him a lesson. Seeing their gang leader knocked down and the other two too frightened to step up, Taehyun's cousins and their friend were trembling too much to even think of resisting. The gang leader, now sweating profusely, didn't know what Taehyun would do next as he saw him raising his hand. Terrified, he yelled and tried to dodge. "Wait, hold on, spare me. Please, I beg you, spare me. I'll leave right away." Taehyun, pinning down the gang leader, activated the prey-catching skill with great enthusiasm. He wanted to test its power once again, eager to see more of what this skill could do. This morning during the confrontation with Huku, his state wasn't optimal, and he didn't have much chance to observe the skill in action. Moreover, he was curious about what he could collect from the gang leader. However, to his surprise, the prey-catching function didn't work. Taehyun was startled, unable to understand why he couldn't summon the magical energy anymore. "Oh, what's happening? Is there something wrong with it? Did it try to attack me?" The gang leader rejoiced and feared at the same time. Taehyun attempted to activate the prey-catching skill once more, but the results remained unchanged. The skill wouldn't activate. Seeing an opportunity to turn the tables, the gang leader quickly seized it. "You're messing with me. Huh, this lunatic here thinks he's somebody. You dared to fight me. I thought you had some impressive trick up your sleeve. While cursing, he simultaneously delivered a punch to Taehyun's face, causing him to be thrown backward. Earlier, it thought Taehyun was a formidable guy, striding into the house with a tough attitude and knocking down their leader first. Little did they know, this kid was just a mixed-blood awakened being. All three coordinated, the first one using a C-rank binding skill. Hot red iron chains were thrown out to restrain the enemy. The second one utilized a C-rank poison skill, able to blow out poisonous streams of air that could fatally affect the opponent. The leader used a C-rank bloodletting technique, releasing sharp spikes toward Taehyun. Just the imagination alone is enough to perceive the formidable combination of these three skills. Taehyun, realizing he was about to be ganged up on, struggled to stand up and find a way to counterattack. However, at such a close distance, he didn't have much time to think, and lacking combat experience, there was little he could do. He could only glare at them as they unleashed their techniques towards him. The collision ignited sparks, causing Jae-young's house to light up as if the entire roof was about to explode. The three gangsters' skills merged together, a layer of toxic gas enveloping the outside, while iron chains and sharp spikes continuously attacked Taehyun from within. It was truly absurd that an awakened person would dare to pretend to be awakened. He didn't even know his position. It was truly absurd that an awakened person would dare to pretend to be awakened. He didn't even know his position. You're dead now, they sneered, teaching Taehyun a lesson. However, suddenly, the big brother felt that something was not right. The binding, poison, and bleeding were confirmed, thanks to the mysterious power that resisted successfully. Now their techniques could no longer affect Taehyun. After all the teasing, Taehyun finally managed to stand up. He still didn't understand why his abilities suddenly stopped working and nullified the skills so arbitrarily. Seeing that their opponent was unharmed, the two ruffians thought it was best to run. Fighting more would only result in losing money and getting injured. They realized they had picked the wrong target this time. Throughout the ordeal, you guys have been attacking me. Now it's my turn. I don't know what happened. But I'm sure this is powerful. Taehyun's words, accompanied by his cold expression within the prey hunting skill, were enough to make the gangsters refrain from mentioning his name again in the future. Taehyun had dealt with the whole gang. The other three lay battered and unconscious on the floor. Now, I probably learned two things, right? The status window can only be seen by the awakened, and the detailed information of the awakened will be recorded here, even though there are still some missing pieces. But looking at it briefly, my current stats are Strength, level 3, Endurance level 6, Speed level 5, Mana level 10, Vulnerability 71%, Magic 10, Hunting skill E requires 5 mana to use, Stone Skin skill E requires 1 mana to use. Firstly, from earlier until now, I have more than enough mana to activate the hunting skill, yet it didn't activate. In other words, in the description, it only mentions mana conditions, but to trigger hunting, there must be an impact from factors other than mana. In addition, the intrinsic aspect of the hunting skill is not mentioned in the description. That is, its resistance and nullification of skills related to abnormal conditions such as poisoning or bleeding. That's why I wasn't harmed by the techniques of those three villains. Whether it's right or wrong, one has to gradually figure it out. Trying and testing a few times might help to understand how to apply it. But now there's something more important that I need to do. It seems like today is the day. While Taehyun was pondering about it, he noticed Jae-young kneeling in front of him. Hey, what are you doing? He pleaded with his cousin, Hyun. After witnessing your abilities, I'm impressed. You're amazing. I'll reflect on my actions. Please forgive me this time. In the future, I'll listen to you and won't support those bullies anymore. Even if you want me to lick your shoes or bark like a dog, whatever you say, I'll do it all. Taehyun was speechless with him. This pathetic guy, he knew he was mischievous since ancient times, but who would have thought it would come to this? Well, there's no choice but to endure whatever he does. Because anyway, there's an urgent matter that will happen today. After Jae-young barked a few times, he was suddenly overjoyed to hear his cousin say he would forgive him this time. But Taehyun set a condition. He had to come here with him to resolve the matter. You help me, and then I'll forgive you. In another development, a factory area has been sealed off. He placed a sign that marks the area as restricted, strictly prohibiting entry. Surely there's something dangerous inside, and only designated individuals with special tasks are allowed to enter. Indeed, inside the gates, 3 people are assigned to supervise this area. They are attentively looking at the glowing object in front of them, which is a cracked gate. A cracked gate is a phenomenon that occurs when a crack suddenly opens, creating a path leading to the abyss. If not dealt with, it can lead to a dungeon disaster. At that moment, a well-dressed man with glasses is standing, looking at the cracked gate and telling the other 2 that it's been 10 years since he last saw a dungeon crack. The gate suddenly formed, causing a flood of monsters to come through and harm humans. The girl in the white shirt also responded urgently. Looking at the swarm of monsters, it's clear that if we stay inactive, the dungeon disaster will happen soon should we evacuate the people in the nearby area. Their concerns are valid, as prioritizing the safety of civilians is better than taking any risks. However, the guide insists that there's no need to evacuate. He fully trusts in his grade B barrier skills. When the crack gate opened, he immediately sealed off this area. Moreover, the level of this crack gate is only C. This means that among the monsters in the abyss, the strongest one that can pass through a grade C gate is only a grade C monster. In other words, even if a dungeon crisis occurs, it's not a big deal. His strength surpasses the level of the boss monsters here. So there's nothing to worry about. Suddenly, the girl screamed, "Captain, be careful behind you." He turned around and saw that the barrier seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. The monsters were pushing and shoving, eager to break through. However, he remained calm and assured everyone that as a B class, they could handle this horde of undead. Meanwhile, Taehyun and his younger cousin Jae-young were running towards the crack in the gate. Jae-young questioned why he was involved in this situation and suggested that everything should be fine now that someone was watching. Taehyun explained that there was a control staff member there, but Jae-young kept rambling and calling him irritating. Taehyun, "Enough with the captain, we got a staff member there, so it's fine," Taehyun said. As they ran, Jae-young continued to babble and call him repeatedly. Annoying Taehyun, he urged Jae-young to be silent and stop with the constant calling. "Are you trying to avoid helping me?" Taehyun wondered. To answer his younger cousin's question, Taehyun affirmed that he was correct. Based on a preliminary mana estimation, it was indeed a C-level fissure. Additionally, all control staff members were B-class hunters, so they shouldn't face any issues dealing with C-level monster opponents. "That's what I meant," Jae-young agreed. "You got this." However, Taehyun cautioned that it wasn't as simple as it seemed. If it turned out to be a genuine C-level dungeon, both he and Jae-young wouldn't have rushed there so hastily. He explained that even the supervisors at the site couldn't predict such situations. A battle had just taken place, and some monsters managed to breach the barrier. B-class hunters had successfully taken down many of them, but the threat wouldn't stop there. The supervisors had been overly confident in the C-level status of the fissure and hadn't taken proper precautions. Now they were starting to feel uneasy. Taehyun found it strange that these lower-level monsters could tear through their B-class barriers so easily. It seems like the mana overflow from this fissure is higher than their initial estimation, suggesting that the prediction about the gate was inaccurate. The monitoring team leader recalled the girl's warning that something was emerging from within the gate. When he turned around, he noticed that the barrier was in trouble. Under the weight and pressure from the monsters inside, cracks had started to appear on the B-class barrier. Whatever was inside was substantial enough to break through the safety fence, posing a catastrophic threat to the entire city. What's this? Those creatures don't resemble the C-class information they received. The final barrier also couldn't withstand the onslaught. It had been completely shattered. The ruthless monsters of various levels poured out from behind, each one terrifying and bloodthirsty. To their horror, all of them were giant ogre demons of A-class level, not C-class as initially believed. With their overwhelming numbers and strength, the three of them wouldn't stand a chance against this formidable force. The blood-soaked battle unfolded, and it became evident that this place would be destroyed. Within a few hours, the entire city would fall victim to the massacre. As Taehyun hurried towards the scene, Jae-young, still in disbelief, continued questioning. "Hey, assuming you're right, how on earth do you know all this? Are you some kind of fortune teller?" Exhausted, Taehyun responded, "It's because I've been through this before. Stop asking and trust me." "Don't tell me it's just a gut feeling," Jae-young persisted. "How could you possibly predict all of this? You have some special ability to see the future." "Well, my gut feeling did tell me," Taehyun replied. "It said that if you don't shut up, the monsters will eat you first." Taehyun denied that he was lying, trying to deceive Jae-young. While criticizing their older cousin, Jae-young suddenly froze. It dawned on him that he might have been deceived by their cousin. The people around them were all scrambling. Screams and desperate cries filled the air. The roars of monsters and the ominous sound of approaching footsteps were overwhelming. As the horrifying scene unfolded, Jae-young turned pale, his fear evident. Taehyun urged him to follow the instructions given earlier. Curious as to why their cousin wasn't with them in such a dangerous situation, Jae-young asked why he wasn't coming along. "I'll handle those monsters and catch up with you right away. Just trust me and go do what you need to do," Taehyun assured him. Saying this, Taehyun activated his fish scale skin skill and boldly advanced towards the oncoming monsters, determined to face them head-on. While their older cousin's abilities were unknown, Jae-young couldn't help but feel extremely anxious. This time, they were up against monsters, not just thugs like earlier in the day. Shortly after the supervisors detected the incident and the monsters began attacking civilians, information about the dungeon anomaly reached the head of the Hunter Management Building. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back, looking into the distance. The situation is deteriorating rapidly. Just as you mentioned, he remarked, the Fisher Gate, thought to be C-class, is actually A-class. Currently, we have no ready reinforcements because others are occupied with conquering dungeons and exploring abyssal areas. We are short-staffed, so the only way to resolve this crisis is to have an Awaken A-class substitute. You're our only hope, please help us. The Awaken A-class substitute, known as Hyun-soo, and nicknamed the Rampaging Sword, was the one called upon for help. It seemed that he was incredibly emotional at the moment, with tears streaming down like two rivers. The reason for his tears, as it turned out, was due to him experiencing late puberty syndrome. He consoled himself, reassuring everyone that they should wait for him, as the hero Hyun-soo would arrive shortly. Meanwhile, the horde of monsters that flooded out from the Fisher Gate began attacking civilians, resulting in numerous casualties and injuries. Without the intervention of high-level awakened substitutes, no one would dare to confront these creatures. While everyone was evacuating to safety, Taehyun went against the tide, staying behind to confront the horde of monsters and prevent their rampage. He planned to use his stone skin skill to launch physical attacks against the monsters. Following that, he intended to apply his hunting skills to collect the remaining skills and life force of the creatures. This approach served a dual purpose, ensuring the safety of the civilians and providing opportunity to elevate his rank and refine his skills. Moreover, having experienced a similar incident before, Taehyun wanted to contribute his strength to rectify the past. At the very least, he aimed to help as many people as possible and eliminate as many monsters as he could. After successfully defeating numerous creatures, Taehyun drew some valuable lessons. It was just as he thought. Unsuccessful hunts were a result of his weakened state. His current level of weakness was at 52%. If it surpassed 70%, as it did during the previous incident at home, he would become incapacitated. Usually, most skills are activated based on mana manipulation, but that doesn't mean it's just about focusing on mana. There's another crucial factor, the level of weakness. This index is not fixed and constantly changes. The level of weakness increases when using a skill or engaging in certain physical activities. The higher the level of weakness, the more fatigued the body becomes. As a result, the power of skills decreases and the body feels increasingly cumbersome. It's quite a complex system. Unfortunately, there are many things to worry about, however. Taehyun discovered that by absorbing the life force of dying monsters, he could replenish his mana. In doing so, he could use his techniques more swiftly and easily. Successfully hunting and restoring mana became faster through this method. Furthermore, there was another good piece of news. His rank had changed to D. Surprisingly fast, his hunting skill went from E to D, and his stone skin skill advanced to D level, now called Stone Hide. Which sounded more impressive. He realized that by applying his hunting skills more frequently, he could level up faster, so it was time to hunt down more monsters or rogue elements to sharpen his skills further. With this pace, I could reach S level or even SSS level soon. Oh no, maybe I'll become the first SSS class individual. How thrilling. After battling monsters from afternoon till evening, Taehyun surveyed the area and realized it was mostly under control. Should he go back to Jaeyoung's house? As he contemplated, he heard the growls of monsters from behind. They weren't all dead yet. Turning around, Taehyun witnessed an A-class monster being overwhelmingly attacked by a hunter, causing it to fall from the top floor of a building. A heroic figure's voice echoed, "You filthy creature, you'll pay for the lives you've taken. Face your doom." Encountering this scene, Taehyun was torn between going back to Jaeyoung's house and aiding the courageous hunter. The warrior of justice, Hyun-soo, will pass judgment on you. Taehyun was incredibly surprised and felt a deep respect for this formidable individual. The hunter was exceptionally strong, and the techniques he employed were both impressive and visually appealing. The yellow sword in his hand seemed formidable and undoubtedly a powerful weapon. The monster was currently in a vulnerable position, free-falling and unable to evade attacks. It could only roar and wildly swing its limbs. The hunter skillfully applied his skills to the sword, delivering a relentless series of strikes to the monstrous creature. Exhausted and unable to withstand the powerful onslaught, the monster succumbed to the relentless force. The monstrous creature crashed down, shaking everything around as if in an earthquake. Its gruesome roars mingled with the powerful light of the rampaging sword, creating a scene of devastation. The area lay in ruins with collapsed buildings and swirling dust, leaving Taehyun in a state of shock. How could someone easily defeat an A-class monster like that? This person must indeed be an A-class awakened substitute, the one who single-handedly dealt with the Fisher Gate before Taehyun arrived. Hyun-soo, the rampaging sword, lived up to his reputation. The praises sung about him were undoubtedly true. The A-class hunter now stood upon the monster's carcass, self-congratulating, "I'm truly outstanding. That foolish monster met its end under the justice of my sword." Taehyun, in awe of the A-class hunter's strength, wondered if he could ever reach such heights in his own journey of awakening. Taehyun couldn't shake off the feeling that something about this person seemed odd. While undoubtedly skilled, his actions appeared somewhat primitive and bizarre, echoing the rumors that had circulated about him. However, the current presence of Hyun-soo puzzled Taehyun. It was different from what had happened before he returned. Taehyun recalled a bloody battle. Hyun-soo had fought against a colossal serpent on the other side of the city. It wasn't the same as coming here to eliminate monsters and then praying for the unfortunate victims. Suddenly, Taehyun sensed the presence of a certain skill in the vicinity, sending shivers down his spine. In an instant, a mysterious figure appeared, stealthily stabbing from behind. The sword pierced through Hyun-soo while he was deeply engrossed in his prayers. "Who are you? How dare you?" "I got you now, Hyun-soo." With this move, he was good as dead. Switching to another scene, at a fashion store that hadn't been traversed by the monsters yet, everything remained calm and orderly. Jae-young stood, watching a girl sleeping. Was this the task assigned to him by his older cousin? The girl seemed to be soundly asleep, completely unaware of the events unfolding around the area. Jae-young wondered if everything was really okay. It all felt quite surreal. Recalling his cousin's words from earlier in the evening, Jae-young remembered the warning that tonight many people would be killed. One of them was a nurse at their school, Choi Na-young. She would meet her end while diligently attending to the injured instead of evacuating. "And you use your sleep-inducing skills to make people sleep? If so, make Choi Na-young sleep deeply, then evacuate her to a safe place. I'll take care of the rest." That's what my cousin told Jae-young while they were running towards the monster. But Jae-young was still bewildered, not understanding how Taehyun could know all these things, from the crack in the wall to it not being Class C and even knowing the teacher would die. Could he be a prophet? Does my cousin have the ability to foresee the future and know all the details in advance? Probably not. It sounds illogical. He's not supernatural like that, but apart from that explanation, there doesn't seem to be any other way. That's probably it then. Taehyun, oh no. I should call him Big Brother Taehyun. He has awakened an ability to see the future, seeing everything that will happen in the future. Incredible. Truly insane. I must be going crazy. If that's the case, then listening to him, everything should be fine. Prompted by my younger cousin, Taehyun sneezed a few times, just remembered how he is. Damn it, something is really wrong here. After being stabbed, Hyun-soo managed to muster the strength to turn and see who the assailant was. "Who are you? Identify yourself quickly." The mysterious figure smirked and revealed that being stabbed at your weak point and surviving is quite surprising. A-grade hunters are truly different, aren't they? Well then, the hunt is going to be even more interesting. This deviant is a Class B villain, Han Sang-go, with the skill of Class B concealment. He's also an awakened individual, but with criminal tendencies unlike other awakened individuals, hence, they refer to such individuals as villains. And among them, the Class B villain Han Sang-go is a deranged murderer. During the chaos when the gate broke, monsters poured out and he went on a killing spree out of excitement. However, the issue here is that Taehyun certainly hadn't encountered him before the time loop. It means the future has been altered because of me. My actions in this past have caused events to unfold differently. You wretched person, you are a villain. I will punish you with my own hands. Hyun-soo intended to charge forward and kill the villain, but for some reason, the stones from the rubble began to float upward, as if something was pulling them into the air. Both Hyun-soo and the villain were astonished by this bizarre scene. At that moment, the monster's hand that had shown signs of movement earlier shifted. Unexpectedly, it raised its hand and turned around. It turns out it wasn't dead. It just passed out. It got up, growling as it saw the enemy still standing there, standing on top of it. Hyun-soo quickly leaped away to avoid the monster's attack, and it transformed into a giant ogre. The villain also stepped back, but he appeared excited about this. He chuckled with delight, seeing the regenerative abilities of the monster were indeed top-notch, different from Class A monsters. The ogre monster stood up, chasing the two prey. Hyun-soo wielded his sword to control it, while the other villain did nothing. He glanced aside and laughed, saying that what you're doing is useless, and he handed the monster back to you, Hyun-soo. At this point, the villain noticed Taehyun standing there witnessing everything. I didn't expect to have an audience here who got guts. Well, that's even better. The more prey, the better. I've been itching to kill you. Then go die quickly, he said, sticking out his tongue, and lunged to deliver a fatal blow to Taehyun's neck, solely to satisfy his sadistic killing tendencies. However, Taehyun wasn't about to just stand there and accept death. He used his jumancy to shield himself. You're a fool thinking you can cut through stone with a sword. Go die now, Taehyun said, kicking the stone straight into the face of the villain. Strangely, even after being hit, he continued to laugh. Keek, you miserable fool. Turns out you're an awakened too. That's right, and you're the villain Han Sang-go, the madman who roams around killing people using stealth skills. That's you, right? Fortunately, I run into you here. You want to kill me? Come on, hurry up. Taehyun taunted, waving his hand. Both sides charged into battle, one wielding weapons in a frenzied attack, the other using jumancy to defend against every strike. Han Sang-do relentlessly slashed from all directions, using both hands to take down his opponent. With each swing of his sword, Taehyun countered using the stone skin on his body to deflect the blows. A while later, the villain's sword began to crack as well. In this, Taehyun seized the opportunity to counterattack. He used his fist covered in geomancy to punch repeatedly into Han Sang-do's face, forcing him to step back to avoid the blows. "Keek, you're quite strong too. No wonder you're so confident. Who knows, maybe you're unaware that this sword is ineffective against me. I don't know how much you already know about me, but I bet you're thinking you can defeat me because my attacks don't work on you, right?" Taehyun taunted. "But little kid, you're still inexperienced and green. You should know that the world doesn't operate the way you think." After saying that, the villain used his stealth skill, and Taehyun couldn't see him anymore. "He's hiding, huh? But you should know that it won't change the fact that his attacks are useless against me. You didn't expect it, did you?" Suddenly, Han Sang-do appeared behind Taehyun, employing the same tactic he often used to ambush others from behind. The villain swung his sword at Taehyun's hand, piercing through the stone skin, causing blood to spurt out. Taehyun was shocked by this turn of events. Wasn't this stone skin supposed to be tough enough to render his sword useless? Seeing Taehyun's expression, Han Sang-do reveled in his amusement. "Keek, you know how many awakened individuals I've hunted? You guys are all delusional, thinking your skills are invincible. Your weakness is exposed now. You must be furious and just want to escape, right? Fine, I'll grant you the mercy to die in peace, and I'll let you know this. That is, every skill has its weakness." As he spoke, he continued to strike Taehyun with a few more blows. It was only now that Taehyun realized that even stone skin had its vulnerabilities. At this moment, Taehyun recognized that even geomancy had its limitations, and couldn't entirely block every attack. Powerful attacks will shatter the stone, and the broken part will be replaced by a stone with weaker resilience, so he observed and targeted the weakness of this skill from the very beginning. "But as I thought, I'm sure I can still go toe-to-toe with him, even though he's a Class B opponent, because my physical skills aren't just a Class D. Hey, Scarface villain, let's end this test here," Taehyun said. Han Sang-do didn't understand what Taehyun was saying. He thought Taehyun might have gone mad due to being pushed to a dead end. When Taehyun asked if he wanted to know why he sought out a villain like him, Han Sang-do thought that at this point, Taehyun should be begging or roughly running away instead of standing here blabbering like this. "It's because I want to test your skill level," Taehyun said, concentrating his hunting aura around him, casting a red tint over the area. The villain was surprised not knowing what this dangerous-looking hunting aura was. It turns out Taehyun had been concealing his true power all this time. However, he was quite confident in his hiding skills, so he didn't think much of his opponent. "Haha, you fool, I don't know what this skill is, but do you think you can fight me while not being able to see me?" Taehyun replied, "Didn't you just say every skill has its weakness? I realized this after tearing apart those monsters a few times. Among them, countless creatures managed to escape my sight. But in the end, the hunting skill devoured and conquered them all. In simple terms, no matter where you hide or run, you can't escape." Han Sang-do, now uneasy, understood that even his exceptional hiding skills might not be sufficient against Taehyun's unique hunting ability. "Soon, the prey will catch you too. Your days are numbered, Han Sang-do." And so that night, Taehyun put an end to the villain. However, the fate of Hyun-soo and the class and monster in their ongoing battle remains unknown. The mornings come quickly, and throughout the night, only Hyun-soo and Taehyun fought against the monsters and a hidden villain. No other hunters or organizations came to assist. Exhausted, Hyun-soo lies on the ground, defeated. "Damn it, if that villain didn't sneak attack me, I wouldn't be in such a bad shape. The hero of justice, the unbeatable warrior, even someone like me, Hyun-soo, cannot escape the inevitability of death. I will die right here, it's coming again." The monster, which had tormented Hyun-soo throughout the night, remained strong and ferocious, approaching the exhausted hunter. It would deliver a final devastating punch, ending him in an instant. Before delivering the final blow as a customary act, the monster let out a loud roar to showcase its dominance over its opponent. However, after displaying its dominance, it looked down and couldn't find the enemy anywhere. Hello. That's because during the monster's roar, Taehyun had swiftly approached and pulled Hyun-soo out of its line of sight. Taehyun shouted, "What's going on? Why are you lying flat on the ground? It was about to stomp you to death." The monster was indeed powerful. It seemed even a renowned A-grade hunter like Hyun-soo couldn't defeat it. Taehyun thought it would be more convenient to handle this himself. Summoning his hunting aura, Taehyun aimed to subdue the class and monster this time. In the end, everything was resolved. The city was free from the presence of any monsters. and those unfortunate souls who fell victim to them had been taken care of. Those lucky enough to evacuate in time were now returning home. Taehyun's uncle had returned late last night, but there was no one in the house. Surely his parents were extremely worried about their son and grandchild, so when they heard the two of them coming home, the uncle rushed to open the door, overjoyed as if he had come back to life. Jae-young, with a playful smile, said, "Mom, Dad, I'm back." Taehyun, on the other hand, asked his uncle if everything was all right. However, glancing at each other, the two siblings seemed to have something they wanted to keep from their uncle. It was understandable. Yesterday's events were truly horrifying. Overwhelmed with emotion, the uncle couldn't find words. Tears started to flow, and he quickly ran to embrace the two young ones. They cried while saying, "Oh my God, we thought you were taken away by the monster. Maybe it's been a while since you've been home, so you don't know. But our house is a mess, as if someone just destroyed it." Jae-young wanted to keep the events of last night hidden from his parents, the incident where he and the gang tried to steal money and got reprimanded by his cousin. Seok pretended not to know anything. "Haha, no, nothing at all, right, Taehyun?" Both successfully diverted attention from the chaotic events of the previous night. They decided to let that matter slide for now. Currently, on various news outlets, events, and social media, there was breaking news about the Dimensional Rift Gate appearing after 10 years. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the government directive, the alert regarding the Dimensional Rift Gate has been completely lifted. However, due to the possibility of a resurgence, the government has ordered the closure of nearby schools for 1 week, and news about the number of survivors was gradually being released, bringing some relief to the public. Those injured in the attack were now being treated at the hospital, including the awakened individuals. They were surprised to learn that the monster was not a Class C but a Class A. On the other hand, the police were also questioning those involved in the incident. Some had witnessed the monster's attack, while others, like the girl, claimed not to know anything. When asked, she seemed bewildered, saying, "When I woke up, I found myself here. I don't know anything." But the most unfortunate case was Hyun-soo. He was surrounded by cameras as people believed he had saved the entire city. Trying to clear things up, he said, "Dear citizens, I'm not the one who defeated the giant ogre. The real hero is someone else." Although the giant monster had been defeated, its body had not been found yet, and the whereabouts of the assailant who attacked the citizens remained unknown. People were worried that preventive measures might not be effective in ensuring safety. Having watched the news up to this point, Taehyun could finally feel reassured. Everything was under control, and luckily, no one mentioned me and my identity hasn't been exposed. Alright then, let's quickly move on to the next phase. Taehyun ventured alone into an underground bunker. The place looked quite old, and he had no idea what awaited him inside. However, he was confident that it would contribute to his leveling up. Currently, Taehyun's skills and stats had undergone significant changes after defeating the Class A monster and the Class B assailant the previous night. His current level was D with Strength 15, Stamina 20, Speed 15, Mana 40, Weakness 5%, Magic 40 out of 40. His acquired skills included Hunt Prey D, requiring 10 mana, Stone Skin D, requiring 3 mana, and Invisibility D, requiring 5 mana. Now with 3 skills in his repertoire, Invisibility proved to be a major asset, allowing Taehyun to conceal himself and avoid detection by enemies. However, he also understood that with his current level, using all 3 skills at once would be challenging. Carelessly using skills could quickly deplete his mana, leading to an increase in his weakness that could be a dangerous move. Therefore, the best preventive measure for this situation is to use mana replenishing potions. Mana potions are effective in restoring mana and vitality. This item is highly favored by awakeners. However, mana potions are quite expensive, so Taehyun will have to go hunting to earn money. To hunt legally, he needs a valid permit. In reality, using skills without permission is already considered illegal, and he has done it a few times. Therefore, now there's only one option left. That is to explore the discovered dungeons. This is also the reason why Taehyun is here alone today. He has sneaked into a dark underground chamber where giant spiders weave thick webs. They immediately sensed the smell of a human as soon as Taehyun arrived. "Why would a human dare to come here? How did you find us?" One of the spiders asked. "It's been a long time since we, the Spider Sisters, have found such a delicious prey, so let's paralyze him and have a feast tonight." Taehyun found the spiders quite articulate. They probably possessed high intelligence, unlike some big-headed creatures. With the intelligence of a grape, however, their B rank was not high enough to change Taehyun's ranking, so he needed to absorb all 100 of them to make any progress. Taehyun casually remarked, and the spiders, sensitive to any slight to their pride, became furious. "How dare you say that, you arrogant little human? Do you even realize your current situation? We'll eat you alive, brothers. Let him experience the ceremony." The Spider Sisters then sprayed paralyzing gas and released webs in front of Taehyun. After a while, thinking that Taehyun was trapped in their trap, they burst into triumphant laughter. "Haha, how does it feel? Do you sense your body becoming immobile and gradually paralyzed? See how formidable we are. However, Taehyun's body successfully resisted any adverse effects from the spiders. He felt neither discomfort nor paralysis, but rather a sense of exhilaration. Just as I thought, you all have quite useful skills. Thanks, you foolish spiders, Taehyun remarked, seeing that their most potent tactic had no effect on their prey. The spider sisters panicked and scurried away. Hey, wait a minute. Why are you running away so soon? Taehyun chased after them. The fierce battle unfolded in the dark dungeon. The spider sisters, despite their numerous numbers, found themselves at a disadvantage as their tactics were rendered ineffective against Taehyun. In the end, the outcome was clear. Congratulations, Taehyun had successfully hunted and absorbed a new skill, the paralyzing ability. Switching to another scene, this is the headquarters of the newly formed Association for Awakened Players in South Korea. It is a place under strict surveillance and tight security. A meeting is taking place among the awakened players to discuss the recent events at the Rift Gate. A short-haired girl holds a cup of coffee, and a young man with long hair tied back is also present. They are the two most skilled awakened players in the new Players Association of South Korea. The man with the tied-back hair is Go Tae-wook, the Deputy Director of Human Resources. Recognized as players, awakened individuals are legally licensed to use their skills for tasks, such as exploring abysses or eliminating dungeons, among other responsibilities. Currently, the top 5 most powerful players in South Korea hold the majority of the power balance among the awakened. Players from all over can join various guilds. The largest player guilds in South Korea include the 4 great guilds, boasting the most powerful warriors. Others include alchemists, also known as alchemists and sorcerers. Alongside information providers and investigators known as Investigation Team, they operate under the control of a common organization. The authoritative body that can manage the players includes the 4 major factions, namely the new Korean Players Association. In the current meeting, prominent figures are in attendance. The woman in black just spoke. Long time no see, Mr. Chairman. She is the commander of the Rook and is a level S player named Yu Aeon. The middle-aged man with a beard and a covered eye here is the president of the new Korean Players Association, a level S player named Ji Junwi. He appears quite serious. Thank you for coming. I know you're very busy. Have you found what you were looking for? The girl asked again, so you're talking about the Demon Syndicate, right? Let me explain a bit about this name. The Demon Syndicate is a criminal organization established by the most evil criminals among villains. Members of the syndicate all wear golden rings with 3 buffalo heads engraved on them. This report details recent activities of the Demon Syndicate, including a list of players they are targeting. But I'm sure you didn't bring me here just to personally fetch the report, did you? If there's something, just say it straight. The girl is straightforward and wants to get to the main issue. The chairman chuckled. Haha, it seems like you're quite sharp. I want your opinion on something, said Jinwi. Upon hearing this, the girl seemed quite surprised. My opinion, what is it? Jinwi continued, Aeon, when did you start evaluating players? Since I was 19, of course. Is there a problem? The chairman didn't tell me anything. The girl's words sounded skeptical, and it seemed like they were both thinking about something. Do you think a high school student can confront monsters? Jinwi asked. I'm not sure, but there might be hope in this. Let's launch a new campaign. Meanwhile, Taehyun, after defeating all the giant spider sisters at level B, was calmly sitting on the pile of corpses, collecting the spoils of battle and making a phone call. Hello, is this one of the 4 great alchemist guilds? I'm interested in buying mana elixirs. How much do you sell them for? And is there a discount for both purchases? And so 7 days passed just like that. The school closure order had ended and students were returning to their classes. As for Taehyun, what have you been up to during these 7 days? He diligently focused on physical training to increase his physical strength. His cousin Jae-young also followed suit, aspiring to be like his older cousin. In addition to that, Taehyun raided some dungeons, defeated various monsters to earn money and level up. Taehyun obtained a substantial amount of mana stones from the dungeons after defeating monsters. He brought them to one of the 4 major guilds, the Alchemist Guild, as they had a particular interest in these items. Wow, so many mana stones. We'll consider you a super VIP customer. Please do business with us, they exclaimed. Mana stones were highly valued as they were the cores of monsters, used to create potions or powerful equipment for awakening if used by players. More importantly, Taehyun had been promoted from D to C rank, and his stats had significantly increased. His strength rose to 30, stamina to 32, speed to 31, mana to 65, weakness reduced by 16%, and his magic skill reached a perfect score of 65 out of 65, in addition to his original 3 skills, hunting, stone skin, and stealth, all at C rank. He had acquired a new paralyzing skill at a similar level. Everything had ascended to C rank, and the road ahead was still long. Taehyun didn't know how long it would take to reach the coveted S rank. Thanks to the school closure order for 7 days, he had the time to accomplish all of this. Now he had to return to school. Taehyun arrived at class early and sat in the corner, contemplating his path as an awakened player. As his classmates entered and gathered around. "Hey, Taehyun, heard you defeated Huku's gang. Did you awaken? We didn't get a chance to ask you properly during the school closure. What's the story?" "Well, I don't know what happened between you and Huku that day, but I'm sure you're in big trouble," one of them commented. Despite the warnings, Taehyun remained calm and even asked why he would be in trouble. As they continued discussing, footsteps approached from outside. Not just one person, but at least 3. Each step sounded intense, as if someone was agitated. Taehyun turned to see who it was. Just as they mentioned, the troublemakers arrived. Without wasting any time, they barged into the classroom. One of the 3 even lifted their leg and kicked a few chairs and desks, clearly indicating their intention to cause trouble. They had a tough and intimidating appearance, with well-groomed shirts and ties. However, their choice of footwear seemed a bit off, wearing socks with sandals. Regardless of their appearance, the main concern was that Lee Jung-ja wouldn't let this slide. He sat in the middle, hands in his pockets, and greeted Taehyun as if they were old friends. "Long time no see, old buddy," he said, pretending to be friendly. When it comes to this guy, he has quite a prestigious background. He is a 3rd-generation S-rank awakened player from the Taehyun conglomerate, the same conglomerate that sponsors Taehyun High School. He also happens to be the leader of the bullies at Taehyun High. Those troublemakers who enjoy causing chaos and bullying their peers rely on Lee Jung-jae's influence to act recklessly. Moreover, he is the mastermind behind all the troubles at the school during Taehyun's time as a student. He is the main culprit, the one who ordered Huku to bully Taehyun before his awakening. Just thinking about it and looking at that detestable face, Taehyun could barely contain his anger. In the past, before his awakening, he had been bullied and beaten by them day in and day out. Now is the time to recover both his losses and dignity. Taehyun stood up, kicked the desk, and demanded, "Who are you?" to him. The guy arrogantly replied, "Shut your dog mouth."
Thank you, friends, for joining us on this exciting adventure in the world of Manhwa in today's Manhwa recap. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on every exciting episode.